Hey, what's going on everyone? Hux21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So some more gameplay content for you guys today. And we're going to talk about a card that I actually got to release. So Splinterlands gave me the honor of releasing Zebajin. So I leaked this on my channel back in the day before Rebellion launched. And I've been experimenting with it. This card is not overpowered. However, I don't think you should overlook it, specifically in low mana battles. It's kind of like to use a baseball analogy, it's a nice changeup you can throw out there sometimes. And I'm going to show you 4 battles where I kind of did that in really low mana when, it sort of breaks what your opponent might expect you to bring. And then I'll show you a combination in low mana, specifically between Zebajin and another new Rebellion card that I think works really, really well. So this isn't, normally when I make videos, gameplay videos, I'm talking about a strategy that, I use a lot and wins me a ton of battles, right? Just in general, that's going to be some of the most interesting content. What's the content that wins you a lot of battles? This one isn't exactly that, right? This doesn't, I bet I'm winning, whenever I try to sprinkle this into low mana matches, I bet I'm like 500, right? I've maybe done it 10 to 12 times, and I've probably won 5 or 6, right? I'm probably winning half the times I try to do this. So this isn't to say that it's, an overpowered strategy. It's just something to keep in mind. It's one of the cheapest Rebellion legendaries as I'm recording this. So I don't think I've ever come across it besides when I've played it. So just something to think about. It's something, if you find yourself losing a lot of low mana matches, maybe this is something you can turn to mix it up a little bit and try to catch your opponent off guard. So 4 battles, let's get into it. Here we're going to use Lux. What is this? Let's look at the mana counts. They're all really small. Yeah, 16. So a staple of this strategy you'll see is trying to use a martyr. Getting this martyred once before it hits last stand is a huge advantage. So what were we looking at here? Well, I had super sneak, so I presumed that, there would at least be some sort of attack coming to the back line, whether it be the Fiends or the Morphoids, enough to eliminate the Martyr card, and still hoping they brought some stuff to the front line. And that's exactly what I got, right? What they did was a pretty nice strategy in itself. It's just if you're not planned for this, which why would you be, it can win you some matches. So let's take a look here. So again, the magic attack is nice in low mana, right? It's only 7 mana. That's the big thing that gets it to work pretty well in low mana strategies, is it's 7 mana. So it gives a ton of health and some shield, before you even get to the last mana type thing. Oh, I forgot. It's Earthquake. So that's why, these top 2, the cards around it I knew would eventually die. So now they get a martyred Pellicore Mercenary. Now what's really nice here, you'll see that kind of makes the difference for me, is what's about to happen. We hit and we afflict. So right now it's not looking too great, but we get the martyr. Martyr turns into last stand. Here we go. And now look where we're at right now. Having this at this stage of the battle is a complete game changer, right? And then I believe and the shield attacks, right? So even if this card could heal, I'm okay. The shield's gone now, so the shield won't, isn't a factor anymore. But getting that one nice 3 attack, doing 8 damage right off the jump, even if it could heal up a little bit, I have enough magic damage where I'm probably okay. But the affliction was certainly helpful. There you go. All right, so we get that done. The Martyr into Zebajin. Battle number 2, kind of similar. This is another really low mana, right? 14. Right, this is what I'm talking about. So the lowest you can possibly get is 12. So now we're talking 14 mana. Now specifically, right, if I was to ask you, if you would ask most high-level players, if you see low mana odd, what are you expecting? You're expecting some sort of sneak play, right? Because you have your Uraeus for 3, you have the Stitch Leech for 3, the Pellicore Bandit in water is for 3. So generally speaking, you're expecting at least some sneak. Now, especially here where archery sort of, or range, sorry, gets taken out of the equation a little bit based on the return fire. Signs were pointing to a sneak play here. So what do? I bring Obsidian to give a little bit of magic boost that's going to help with the last stand. And I put my Martyr in the back. So we're going to boost the magic, have a Martyr in the back before we get to go into last stand. So we'll get a little juiced up. You see, this battle happens very quickly. So immediately the Martyr goes. We Martyr. We're up to 4 pre-Martyr. Boom. So this is what I'm talking about. A fresh Zebajin right here. In a 14 mana rule set. This is crazy. So we'll eliminate this right off the jump. We do get the magic reflect, but it doesn't matter. The shield will knock off the shield. It's kind of irrelevant, but we get the elimination. You know, they hit a poison, but it doesn't matter. We have 15 health, right? So instead of playing the, you know, both me and my opponent are going to do a odds low mana sneak play, and whoever dodges the Chaos Agent, or whoever's Chaos Agent gets a dodge wins. This is another alternative you have, right? You don't have to play that sneak game. You know, when it's a very limiting rule set that would sort of dictate you're going to have to play sneak. So now these last two are a combination of 2 Rebellion cards that I think work really well together. That is Zebajin and Fabino. Okay, so I'm going to have some more content coming out on Fabino in the low mana context, but I wanted to introduce it specifically here. I wish I could show you the tactics screen in recording, but unfortunately I can't. So what makes this combination so powerful is a couple things. I can poison any card, first of all, right? So I can look at this and I can poison the card that's most likely going to affect Zebajin's ability to get into last stand. Now in this case, it's very obvious which card that is, right? Uraeus. What this also allows me to do, and I don't have a video on this yet, but it's sort of like my little white whale of content that I'm trying to create. I can, for example, put the Marks Rat behind Zebajin. And if there's a sneak play, I don't touch it. But if there's no sneak play, I could then poison my own Marks Rat, right? Which would allow Zebajin to get the Martyr that I'm hoping that it gets, while also being the last card to move up to the front line. So this poison's really dynamic, specifically when you're talking about trying to get a card, A, martyred, and B, make sure it gets to use its last stand. So these first two are going to be sort of the latter category, where I'm going to poison a specific card. I believe actually they're both going to end up being Uraeus's, that could take away my ability to get Zebajin as the last stand. Outside of the sneak damage itself, what I want to do is limit the amount of turns that Uraeus could potentially poison Zebajin. Because I have the shield, right? And I have a lot of health. So if he was to hit me twice or 3 times even, I would be fine. What I can't have is a poison before it goes away. And so, you know, obviously it could hit me 1 time and poison me, and then that's that. But this just sort of speeds up that clock where they have a limited amount of turns to poison me. And let's see how this plays out. I mean, you can sort of guess. I probably wouldn't be showing it if it didn't turn out a certain way. No poison. And we actually get lucky and land the poison on the back end. Poison, poison. So it only has 2 more turns to poison. No poison. Very nice. We land another poison. So the poison certainly went in our direction. I would say this one was a lot of luck, but get rid of the first card. Poison, poison. So now it only has 1 more turn to poison me. And it does poison this time. And you might think, oh, you're in a tough situation here, right? I mean, look where we're at. Right, they have full health here. They have 6 extra damage here. But we have these 2 poisons, right? This one from Babino, this one from my Uraeus. So we're actually not in a bad situation, specifically when we see Last Stand. We're back up to 12 health. It's just a lot of damage. And we lose the Uraeus now, finally. You know, obviously if their Uraeus hits the poison on the first turn, we're in a tougher spot here. We'd actually lose, right? Because if we had an extra round of, that's the 2 health right there. So just adding that clock to the poison damage helped me out there. Now, very similar situation, and what's cool about this one, that last one was 20. This one's 12. So this one is the lowest mana possible. And this is a good example of why Fabino is so nice with this strategy. I can put this card up front to potentially eat some damage, right? And if we're in a situation where there's going to be no damage up front, I can just poison this, right? Bring this, eliminate this, bring this up front, it hits its last stand, it gets powerful. But in this case, again, I'm worried about the Uraeus poison. Now, you might be looking and saying, well, there also isn't any damage up front. But if you also notice, right, if I get rid of the Uraeus, they don't have any more damage. So there's kind of 2 ways that it could play out, as long as this card is eliminated and Zebajin doesn't get poisoned, right? Either this can hit and eliminate. Once it eliminates the Chaos Agent, eventually it'll get through Scabo. Eventually, Venator might kill it, but that would bring Zebajin to the front with the Last Stand. The alternative, in the more likely situation, especially because they're enraging all of their monsters, is the Fungus Fiend misses, takes backfire damage, and boom, Zebajin moves to the front. So that was kind of my thought process in the tactics screen, that even though they don't have any damage that's going to be hitting the front line, it's far more important that I get rid of this Uraeus as quickly as possible. And so I don't think they have any strengthens here, so it should just be 4 health. So basically what this is saying is, you have 2 turns to poison me. Instead of, you know, being able to willy-nilly keep whacking away while, you know, it's not taking any damage. I'm setting that clock. You have 2 turns. So let's see how this plays out. Turn 1, no poison. We actually get a miss there, which is unfortunate. See, that's the miss I was talking about. So it was likely the Fiend would kill itself. All right, you're enraged. Here's turn 2, no poison. So all we did there, and there's the other miss, all we did there was start the clock. That's it. So now we get into Last Stand here. We don't have the Martyr, so it's a little less powerful. This kind of shows why the we get you know, decently lucky there on the hit. But now they just don't have any damage, right? We're able to take out their damage, start the clock on the Uraeus, and then have a pretty easy time making our way through the rest of their lineup. So the dynamic between Fabino and Zebajin can really help you set up or dictate how the match is going to play out in a way that you can either get Zebajin martyred or take away the biggest threat to getting Zebajin into Last Stand. That's why I think it's a cool combination. Again, I've lost with this strategy, right? Trying to implement it into low mana matchups about as many times as I've won with it. So it's not like a foolproof win all your match strategy. Just a situation, don't sleep on the card. For most of cards in Splinterlands, there's a time and a place to utilize it. And in this instance, I found that really low mana matches is a pretty good time to give Zebajin a shot. Specifically, if you can, boost its magic with Obsidian, get it martyred in some fashion, or Fabino. Fabino gives you a lot of ability to be creative in how you get Zebajin to the front. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like this gameplay content, don't forget to like the video, as well as if you're not subscribed yet, if you could do me a favor and hit that red button, it would be greatly appreciated. All right, that's it for me for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you around the game.